Hey there, Dressage Divas. Today on the Dressage Pod, brought to you by Dressage Hub, we are going to talk about 9 super awesome, super simple exercises to get your horse through the basics and learn the timing of your aids with George Williams and his awesomeness. So check it out. Stay tuned. We're going to read a really super awesome article for you today. Basic exercises to learn the aids. World Cup finalist George Williams gives you 9 exercises to become more effective with the application and timing of your aids. A routine I call kindergarten exercises is for horses and riders to learn more about the rhythmic application and timing of aids. These exercises translate human thought into a common language that both horse and rider can understand, the aids. Although these exercises sound very intellectual, they are very simple. They are really kindergarten basics. The beginning concepts I learned from Carl Mukolka, a former chief rider of the Spanish riding school and a master of dressage exercise. By doing these exercises, you'll teach your horse how to respond to your leg and rein aids in an increasingly sophisticated manner. Developmentally, the horse learns how to respond to the aids in 3 phases. The horse relaxes from the rhythmic application of the rider's aids. Once he is relaxed, he can become more obedient to properly timed aids and yield to them. As he gains understanding, he becomes quick and light enough to the aids so that he engages his hindquarters and responds to the half halt by carrying increased weight behind, giving his rider the desired effect by responding to every nuance of the rider's seat and aids. In this article, we'll do 9 exercises to help you achieve the benefits of the final phase. Phase 1, relaxation to the aids. The first 6 basic exercises can be done on the lunge line or a 20-meter circle. The goal of these exercises is to relax your horse so he accepts the rein and leg aids. Do them in rising trot, posting on the correct diagonal. Exercise 1. Apply the inside rein aid rhythmically by closing the finger of your inside hand every other sitting moment of the rising trot. You will do this 6 times, so the exercise takes place over 12 strides. Over these strides, say a simple phrase that describes what you are doing, so that every other time you sit and apply the aid, you say one word. For example, an appropriate phrase would be, "Horse, here is my inside hand." In 6 words, you are rhythmically telling the horse about your inside rein aids. You want your horse to acknowledge your rein aid by softening his jaw and beginning to flex and bend his neck slightly to the inside. You don't want him to resist or pull the rein out of your hand. I've found horses relax and don't resist. Wait a few strides before moving on to the next exercise. Exercise 2. Squeeze the fingers of your outside hand on every other sitting moment. On those 6 beats, say, "Horse, here is my outside hand." The horse will acknowledge your rein aid by softening and relaxing his pole, yielding longitudinally, front to back, not by bending to the outside. Wait a few strides again before going on to the next exercise. Exercise 3. Softly close the fingers of your inside hand and close the inside calf, not the entire leg, at the same sitting moment. Be sure to keep your leg long as you use it. When you use your leg in that sitting moment, it is easy to make the common mistake of squeezing the leg upward. Now, verbalize your wishes by saying, "Horse, here is my inside leg." Or you can say, "Horse, relax your rib cage," or stomach, or belly. Again, by applying the aids at every other sitting moment, your horse should start to relax into this exercise. Exercise 4. After a short break, you will close your fingers on your outside hand and close your outside knee against the saddle. Again, on every other sitting moment, say, horse, here is my outside knee. Or you can tell him the response that you want him to have. Horse, relax your shoulders. Exercise 5. Next, do the same thing on the inside, closing the inside fingers and closing the inside knee against the saddle. Say something like this. Horse, here is my inside knee. You and your horse will more clearly understand the basic concept that your hand and knee should be able to relax the horse's shoulders and eventually control the horse's shoulders. Exercise 6. Finally, close your outside hand and your outside calf on every other sitting moment. Say, horse, relax your stomach. Now you're referring to his outside rib cage. From these outside aids, your horse might become a little rounder or slow down. Notice how the exercises have influenced you and your horse. The rider usually gains a feeling for how to coordinate the aids and an understanding of how the aids develop in communicating with the horse. The horse usually follows his rider to put the pressure of a soft aid on him without becoming tense. In fact, these 6 basic exercises alternate your inside and outside reins to create a web of aids around your horse that help him balance and stay relaxed on the aids. Now give your horse the stretch test. To stretch the top line to confirm his willingness to see the bridle. Every time you sit, give your inside rein and encourage the horse to stretch onto the outside rein. If your horse was tracking to the left, you would say, horse, stretch into the outside rein. Then do the same on the outside. Give with your outside rein to encourage the horse to stretch onto the inside rein. You can say, horse, stretch into the inside rein. Throughout these exercises, you and your horse have established a clear rhythm of rising trot. You have used that beat to help you apply the aids rhythmically. Since the horse responds to a rhythmical application of the aids, the rider's understanding of the language of the horse is usually enhanced, and the horse, by now, is relaxed on the aids. Phase 2, asking for obedience. Once your horse is relaxed on the aids, ask him for obedience to the aids. Exercise 7. Return to the exercise using your inside hand and inside leg aids in the rhythm of every other sitting moment on a 20-meter circle. But this time, post on the wrong diagonal. You want to influence the horse's motion in this exercise, so the timing of your leg aids need to be that moment when your horse can best respond to you. If your horse's weight is on his inside hind leg, he is not able to respond to your inside leg. By posting on the wrong diagonal, you're closing your leg at the moment when the hind leg is off the ground, when you're best able to influence your horse's stride in the hind leg. Increase the intensity of your leg aid and your horse will show obedience to the leg by stepping away from it and enlarging the 20-meter circle in leg yield. You can also do this exercise in sitting trot. You will recognize when the horse's hind leg is in the air by feeling that moment when your inside knee goes down. The rider's knee drops when the corresponding front leg of the horse is on the ground and the hind leg is in the air. In this exercise, use the aid only 3 times so your horse won't start to drift through the outside aids. You want to predetermine a size and number of leg yield strides. You can ask your horse to move out to the horse's width or a hoof width, but it should be predetermined by you. As you use your calf 3 times over, 3 strides, you can say enlarge, 2, 3, every sitting moment. If you need a breather, use the calf 3 times over 6 strides, asking every other stride. The rhythm will be slower, and you would say enlarge, relax, 2, relax, 3. Exercise 8. Your horse also needs to be obedient to your rein aids. Start by going back to the first exercise we did. Apply the inside rein and rhythmically close your fingers on your inside hand every other sitting moment of the rising trot. Sit on the wrong diagonal again because it is easiest for horses to flex and bend when the inside shoulder is back. Ask for 3 different degrees of inside flexion. In the first step, if the horse is tracking left, ask him to look a little bit left by increasing the closing of your inside fingers. In the second step, ask him to look a little more left, and in the third step, the most left. Say left, more, most. Remember that these are subtle exercises. You won't be pulling or cranking. Exercise 9. Ask your horse to follow your leading rein on the outside. This teaches him to yield by moving his shoulders out slightly. So if you're going around a corner, your inside leg and outside rein can help you move further into the corner. If tracking right, you should be able to lead the horse to the left with a left opening rein. Don't exaggerate. Your left hand can move out as far, but not beyond your left knee. Remember that these obedience exercises are subtle. You can use any 3 words that describe what you're trying to do and the way in which you're trying to do it. You might say lead, more, most. After your horse is relaxed with a soft jaw, rib cage, and back, you can feel your aids and your horse is better able to be obedient. Then you can look forward in the third phase of your horse's understanding when his response has quickness and lightness necessary to increase his engagement and self-carriage and deliver the desired effective aids. The development of his understanding and physical strength is gradual. We wouldn't expect a young horse to step under and engage like a Grand Prix horse because he needs time to become supple and strong. This understanding and willingness to engage and carry weight is growing. Phase 3. The aid has the desired effect. These kindergarten exercises have hopefully promoted relaxation and in turn helped develop a subtle and elastic contact. Used alternately on the right and then on the left, the exercises have created a web of aids around your horse that you apply in the rhythm of your horse's movement. When the horse is surrounded by aids and relaxed within them, it is synonymous with being on the bit. You have taken your human thought and communicated it to the horse in his language. Finally, you have reached the third phase of your horse's development in terms of his understanding of the aids. Here's what you can expect to feel so far. Your inside leg should be able to bring the horse's inside hind leg under and increase his engagement. When you want to enlarge the circle, he should respond within 2 strides. Enlarge, enlarge. When you increase the intensity and closing of your fingers on the outside, he should slow the tempo and count to a count of 2. Slow down. When you want to make a transition from trot to walk, sit and apply the aids in the rhythm. When your inside knee goes down, the first half halt slows him down. The second half halt slows him down a little more without losing activity. By the third half halt, the horse knows how to make a smooth transition into the walk, and in this transition, you might say, slow down, walk. Over time, the desired effect of the half halt is to be able to shift some of the horse's weight back into the hind quarter. This brings the concept of kindergarten exercises to another level involving collection. In collection, there are greater expectations in terms of the horse's response because he has an understanding of what is expected of him. A crucial idea to remember before a rider can demand, the horse has to understand. In a way, this understanding allows the rider to become more demanding in terms of getting a quicker response, producing elevation, and a lightness of the forehand. The horse, in self-carriage, is a pleasure to watch. He moves like a dancer and feels like a sports car. I hope these exercises have promoted attention to the rhythm and timing of your aids. If you're a dancer, you know where your partner's feet are. Riding is a dance form, and you need to know where your horse's feet are and how to move with and influence him in a harmonious rhythm. Graduate school theory. Understand the 3 ways that a horse's hind legs work. There are 3 ways in which the horse's hind legs work: thrusting power, reach and carrying power, thrusting power, reach, and carrying power, also known as engagement. A good dressage horse must be well developed in his ability to strength and ability to utilize all 3. Well-developed hind legs also require a strong and supple back to create the suspension bridge that connects the horse from back to front. These 3 ways in which the hind legs work are interrelated because they continuously build on the other. The educated rider understands which of these three he is asking the horse to do and how to ask for it. Thrust, pushing power. Thrust refers to the horse's ability to push himself forward off the ground. The hind leg that thrusts does so from a position of engagement, which is solidly on the ground with 3 joints of the leg bent equally, carrying the weight. The horse then pushes against or off the ground in a powerful thrust that propels him forward. In extended trot, for example, or up, as in passage, or into an extreme leap into the air, such as a capriole. To influence thrusting power, we ask the horse to go forward, or we drive him when the desired hind leg is on the ground. In practical terms, this means that we would ask for a canter depart, for example, when the horse's outside hind is on the ground, at the first step to the canter stride. Or we might ask for an extended trot when the inside hind leg is on the ground, so that the horse can propel himself forward by pushing against the ground. Reach. When the horse's weight is on the outside hind, the rider can influence the inside hind to create greater closing or articulation of the joints and greater reach. When asking for greater reach, we include a flight pattern of the hind leg when it is at its highest point and articulated the most. At this moment, the opposite hind leg is on the ground and engaged, preparing for the moment of thrust. Movement within the horse's stride happens rather quickly, but as a rider finding the rhythm of his horse, we want him to find and define the moment in the time in which the leg is at its highest point, when it's easiest to influence the flight pattern. In leg yielding, for example, we ask the horse to enlarge the circle at this moment so he can move his inside leg further under its body towards the outsides of the circle, either directing his inside hind foot into the hoofprint of his outside front or towards a point under the outside stirrup of the rider. Carrying power or engagement. In the half halt that creates carrying power, we are asking the horse to slow down and carry more weight. When his hind leg joints are closed and his foot is on the ground, the levade, in which the horse sits on his hindquarters, is the ultimate example of this kind of closing of the joints while carrying weight. The timing of the half halt to the outside hind is the same as that used for the half halt to ask for reach from the inside hind, since the outside hind leg is on the ground when the inside is in the air. The meaning of the term engagement has evolved over the years, whereas the term to imply reach, the current FEI definition, is increased flexion of the joints of the hind leg during its weight-bearing phase. This causes a relative lowering of the hindquarters, raising of the forehand, thus shifting more of the task of load bearing to the hindquarters, a prerequisite for upward thrust or impulsion. As the horse's hind legs are strengthened in all three ways, he will reach a point at which the collected gaits are possible. A certain degree of collection is necessary for voltées and lateral work, but collection really starts in the transitions, or in those few strides of preparation for a trot to halt transition, walk to canter transition, or canter to walk transition. Collection is the accumulation of carrying power, thrusting power, and reach being developed equally. The quality of collection evolves, so the collected trot of the Grand Prix horse will be more lofty and more powerful than that of a second-level horse. Using the concept of kindergarten exercises. Even though I don't do the kindergarten exercises in my day-to-day riding anymore, the rhythmic timing of my aids has become so automatic that the concepts behind these exercises never leave my mind. For example, when I notice that a horse responds incorrectly to an aid, I watch the applied aid to learn which phase of the correct response is lost. Is it lost because of lack of relaxation, phase 1, or lack of obedience to the aid, phase 2, or maybe the horse is obedient, but the aid isn't having the desired effect? Does he articulate the joints of the hind leg, or does he just step away like a pedestrian shuffling his feet without the quickness and lightness that is ultimately required? On a higher level, you need to rely on a prompt response so that the timing of your aids works for you. For example, in the half pass, your horse has to yield to your outside leg aid in a similar rhythm to that in which you taught him to leg yield. You need to understand that when your outside knee is going down, your horse's outside hind leg is crossing over. When you close your outside leg, you need to have the ability to bring his outside hind further under, and it needs to happen promptly in order for your horse to stay in balance and deliver an elegant performance. George Williams finished 6th at the World Cup final in Sweden in 2003, riding Chuck and Joanne Smith's Westphalian mare Rocher. This article first appeared in Dressage Today, October 12, 2014. It's written by George Williams and Beth Beaumont.